Yes, 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 everybody. Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Thursday. We're getting there ahead of a 2 home game weekend as the West Ham under-21s play Liverpool under-21s at Rush Green tomorrow, 7 p.m. kickoff. So make sure you get down there if you can. I'll be there with the 1s and 2s. And obviously Saturday we'll play Burnley at the London Stadium. And ahead of that, we spoke to Dan this morning from Turf Moorhouse, Burnley fan, friend of the channel. Nice to have him back on now because obviously Burnley being promoted back into the Premier League. And we had a good old natter about everything to do with Burnley ahead of the game, all that type of stuff. Really good chat. Go and check that out. And obviously then we had the Nuno Espirito Santo press conference. And now we've got the world famous Hammers headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys. Now, I will warn you, this does include transfer rumours. So people get really pissed off about transfer. There is a lot of transfer now, so keep an eye on that because we will we'll keep you abreast of everything, but we will warn you when they're transfer rumours. And I think the thumbnail usually does tend to say if we say someone's linked to someone and that type of thing. So hopefully it won't annoy you too much. But plenty to talk about in terms of players potentially coming in. We'll say potentially because in the summer we were linked to 167 players, and I think we only signed 6, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, let's talk about a player that we've been linked to before. We've been linked to again, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. It's proclaims that West Ham are monitoring 𝗟𝗜𝗔𝗡𝗥's situation at Inter Milan, with it being believed that Gnez will be receiving funds by the board to strengthen in January. I mean, he joined Inter Milan in July 2023, but has had limited game time, and there's a desire to test himself in England apparently, which may prompt a move. We're coming to a World Cup year as well. We know we're looking at reinforcements in the centre half position, and like Jan would be quality competition. But recently he started to play for Inter and start a lot more games than maybe previously. So whether he'd swapped Serie A for a relegation battle, I highly doubt, in all honesty. The likes of Spurs are interested in him, and I think it's probably more likely he'll go that way. He's recently broken into the national team set up at Germany and was widely seen when he was at Bundesliga as one of the most physically dominating defenders before moving to Italy. So he's got the physicality I think we desperately need. But whether he'll decide, will the Nuno effect have an issue? Can he sweet talk Jan to be playing in the Claret and Blue here from January onwards? We'll wait and see. But I haven't officially done the rushing ratings yet, but I think 4 out of 10. I think 4 out of 10. I might just apply these to this one. Another player we've been linked to, and again from a different position, not the defender, is the attacking. We've been linked with 2 attackers over the last 24 hours, and the first one is this gentleman, who his name is Ismael Saibari. Now, according to reports, West Ham have the PSV Eindhoven's playmaker high on their agenda ahead of the January transfer window. Standout talent in the Eredivisie, and he's reportedly caught the eye of the likes of West Ham, AC Milan, Marseille, and Benfica, Aston Villa, Leeds, Fulham, Brighton, Everton. Quite a few. So far, 10 goals from 16 appearances this season in the Eredivisie. He's more of a number 8, I think, really, and he's long established himself as a player for the big occasions. He hit a hat trick against Feyenoord, for example, in a derby. Scored against Ajax as well this season, as well as Champions League strikes against Napoli and Bayer Leverkusen. He's attracting a lot of interest, and also a lot of interest in January because Morocco. Well, obviously, he's a Moroccan and we're representing them in the World Cup. And the assumption is if he has a good World Cup, then his value will increase dramatically. So people are going to see if they can get him. I'd say cheap, but he's going to probably cost you the north of 40 million, in all honesty. 35, 40 million quid, I'd say. He's a smart player. He runs. He doesn't just run. He knows what he's doing. And he has had an absolute stellar season and arguably one of the best players, if not the standout player in the Eredivisie this season. So, you know, he could easily finish his season scoring 20 goals and, you know, doing really well for Morocco, and, you know, obviously the AFCONs as well. So it's going to be an interesting sort of. I think, in all honesty, he's a good talent, a good prospect, but I think we probably can spend our money elsewhere in January. Might be we come back in for him in the summer, but then I think you're looking at 50 million maybe, you know, in terms of the types of money, and I don't think we can really afford that, in all honesty. So an interesting player. He reminds me a lot of Benrahma in some ways, just the way he plays, but a lot more of a final product, that's for sure. Another name that's creeped up yet again in the forward position, which could have legs, is Lucas Da Cunha. Now, we were linked with him in the summer when Saint-Etienne got relegated, and according to reports in Jules Football, it says that West Ham want to sign him in the January transfer window. He 14 goals and 8 assists last season, didn't help Saint-Etienne not be relegated into Liga. This season so far, 4 goals and 3 assists in the second division in Liga. So, you know, starting off where he left off in Liga. Belgium under 21 international. So he's got, you know, in terms of the profile, he's young, he's reasonably tall as well. And according to reports, they claim an excessive offer of over 30 million euros could convince the French club to change their stance. They're reluctant to sell him in January because obviously they want to get promoted again back into Ligue 1. But money talks, dirty cash, I want you, and it does. So it's going to take a fair chunk of change to get him off the books at Saint-Etienne and in the Claret and Blue. But it's a player we've been linked to before, and obviously we're in a different regime now. So clearly it's someone who fits the profile that Nuno's looking at potentially. So we shall see. One player who could be leaving in January, West Ham, obviously not just maybe the likes of Nicolas Füllkrug, but Luis Guilherme. According to Claret and Hugh, they spoke to a senior source about him. And they said, well, they put the question whether he's likely to leave in January. The response was, I think he'll leave on loan. Honestly, I don't think there's been a serious transfer offer since Flamengo made a bid last winter. He'll probably go on loan with another option. So it seems that Lewis has no real future at West Ham. A loan move looks inevitable. To clear up a not a great transfer. Personally, I think he's, again, I don't necessarily agree with that. I always thought he was, and actually when we had Tim Vickery in, you know, who's an expert, who knows South American football, he always said that for me, Lewis wasn't going to be straight into the side. He was going to take time to develop and things like that. I assumed with maybe Nuno speaking Portuguese natively, that would help Louis, and indeed, in the training sessions, you see him communicating with Louis and in Portuguese as well. So, although it's probably likely he'll go out on loan, I still think there's a job. I still think there's a role for him here, for sure. And it's a shame because, you know, he's got something which not a lot of players have got, and that's genuine pace. I mean, when he came on, every time he came on, he impressed me. But is he really going to come in and dislodge Bowen, Somerville, Paqueta, one of them, particularly if that's going to be a settled side now in terms of that sort of three? I don't think so. But it only takes one injury for then Louis to come into the frame, and then it's his shirt to lose, isn't it? Then if he comes in and really impresses, the chances are he might not lose his place again. So let's see. Let me know in the comments what you think about Luis Guilherme. Is it time we cut our losses with him? Let us know. And that's it, my friends. Thank you very much for your time. If you're new around here, don't forget to like, comment, share. If you have a spare hype, always nice to give it a little hype, help the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers, which would be amazing. And until next time, my friends, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Don't forget to check out these@mamabrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opinions. Until next time, see you soon, mofos. Much love. Bye-bye.